How's it going? Steven here. Please allow me to introduce my guest. He's a beer of wealth and taste.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name.
It's my other guest. All right, well, it's golden. Big fluffy head on it. It doesn't really matter how soft you pour this, it's gonna end up pretty much like that. It's the fluff that never goes away. And it's usually very clear until you pour the yeast in and you get a little bit of a haze like I've got right now. So mostly on the nose, it's dominated by a pretty strong fruitiness. There's a general floral character that's kind of more perfumey. It's kind of combining with floral hop character and the alcohol. And then that sort of classic clove peppery Belgian character. And then a nice little foundation of bready malt, kind of doughy, little cracker. Duvel's origins date back to 1871, when Jean-Leonard Morthat and Marie de Block founded the brewery farm. Jean-Leonard had previously run his father's brewery, but left it to his brother when he moved. He never managed to be successful in that former venture, but through continual improvement, determination, and a little luck, the farm became popular in its hometown, and eventually abroad, particularly Brussels. Joseph, one of the elder sons of Jean-Leonard, had been sent off in the 1890s to study brewing, and took over upon his return in 1900, with younger brothers Albert and Victor pitching in. With Joseph's sudden death in 1914 and the failing health of Jean-Leonard, Albert took over brewing and Victor handled sales and distribution. Inspired by British beers introduced to them during the First World War, they began to build a beer based on this brewing tradition, and in 1918, Albert sought out a yeast strain that would accomplish this. Duvel likes to fluff up this yeast acquisition as a great adventure, with Albert traveling all the way to William McEwen's brewery. But some outside Duvel believe this yeast was actually sourced from William Younger's brewery, as Younger's beers would have been available in Belgium and likely familiar to Albert. These breweries would merge a little over a decade later, and given their name similarity and proximity, it wouldn't be surprising that historical accounts conflated them. To go a step further, it's been suggested that Albert harvested yeast from Younger's beers that were imported to Belgium. Whichever way it was accomplished, the result was basically a Belgian version of Scotch Ale, Victory Ale, and it laid the foundation for what it would become. Sometime around 1923, the Victory Ale name was dropped in favor of the name that it has now. The official story alleges the name came from a local shoemaker who called the beer, quote, a real devil sometime in 1920, but naming a beer devil would have also attracted a lot of attention in the predominantly Catholic region at that time. Serendipity or off-kilter marketing? I leave it up to you. Things took a bit of a dark turn during World War II, but there was a light at the end of that tunnel. The 1960s in particular saw two very significant events happen to the brewery. The first involved hiring on a hugely important brewing scientist and scholar who helped isolate the Scottish strains they had been using to produce a clearer and cleaner beer. The second involved the development of the distinct Duvel glass, which was among the first tulip-shaped Belgian beer glasses. It drew clear inspiration from the world of wine to enhance the appearance and aroma, and helped the beer stand out as it grew its distribution footprint. Alongside that, they added a line of Abbey-style beers to their existing extensions and secured a bottling and distribution deal with Tuborg that would end amicably in the 1980s. With the deaths of Emile and Leon in 1991 and 1992, the future of the brewery became uncertain. Many of the family's shareholders wished to sell the brewery, even going so far as to securing a tentative deal with Heineken. In 1998, Leon's sons, Michel, Bernard, and Philippe, bought out their cousin's shares and installed Michel as CEO. Realizing their current beer lineup alone couldn't carry the brewery, the following year the company went public to fund investments and takeovers of several other breweries to diversify. They acquired full or partial ownership of several other European breweries and one American brewery. These investments paid off, and the company delisted and became private again in 2012, when it had become financially unburdened. They continued expanding their acquisitions and partnerships more local and abroad. Despite its growing size and international presence, the brewery still maintains a family-run business approach to management, organization, and policies. It operates its various subsidiaries with a lighter hand than some of its peers, only flexing its owner muscles when and where necessary, and seems more interested in supporting what makes the breweries they acquire great than developing them to be better and go further. I have this terrible feeling that like half of this video is going to be out of focus. This is the glass that currently comes in the gift set. It's the Pints and Panels version, and it is definitely going into the growing collection of glassware. It's got a little bit of information about the beer on it. And I've just got my normal one that I've got from another 4-pack with a glass. Cheers. Whew. So that rich fruitiness we were getting on the nose is much more about the green apple and pear, with the banana being more of the subtle one and becomes much more prominent when there's a little bit of warmth. It has that classic Belgian peppery clove spiciness. The alcohol is present but not overwhelming, and it comes off as kind of that florally perfume type thing that we were getting. And that bready malt, bread dough, crackery foundation also comes through as well. So the body on this is light, maybe even approaching medium light in that kind of spectrum. Bitterness is moderate, though it definitely becomes much more noticeable once you pour the whole glass and get a little bit of that yeast. Carbonation is very high and prickly, and that extends into the feel, even though weirdly the feel is quite soft. This has quite a lengthy finish with that nice alcohol and spice warmth that eventually dries. As for the beer, it's the progenitor of the Belgian Golden Strong Ale. It is the beer people associate with the style. It was Moorthat's answer to Belgium's struggle for international relevance in a sea of popular pale lagers, all emulating Pilsner. Like Belgium's other answer to lager's dominance, the Triple, this beer tackled that problem while remaining steadfastly Belgian. Devilish? Divine? To me, it's a little bit of both. Cheers, and thanks for watching. All right, bud. Hi and bye.